Let's start with how you were feeling going into this immunity challenge. You chose Kim. You said clearly you thought that it would come down to putting. Did it ever cross your mind it would come down to iron shots?
Well, I think I even said it. I was totally shocked. I couldn't believe she had a 6-iron in her hand and hit that poor of a shot. And, I'm hitting a rescue club, and, that's a big advantage. So I was totally expecting to be tied 1-for-1 in each of the challenges until we got to the putting, and then it was going to come down to the putting. But, she gave me a big cushion when it took her all those shots to hit it on the green.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and then, of course, once again, Susan, as I will quote you from the show, said, doesn't even know what fear is, and that's a dangerous person. So once again, Susan comes up with the, the clutch shot again to get immunity. What were you thinking?
Well, she's been kind of unpredictable, but kind of dangerous. She hit her drive, I think she was driver. I think she had her driver in the grid, and then she struggled with her iron play in that hit the green challenge, and then steps up and knocks the second putt in. It's just, you never really know what you're going to get. She might knock it in one, and then it might take her 3. And then, that's a high-risk person. You don't really want to have to go up against them because there's no consistency. You don't know what you're going to get. She might pull a shot off, and then she might miss 3. So it makes it a little bit tougher to pick somebody like Susan.
3 pretty solid players competing in a 3-hole challenge. Before going into that and just sitting on the sidelines watching, what was going through your head? Who did you think was going to come out on top?
Well, I think in that challenge, I think everybody would probably say Kim, because there's a par 5, and with her length, she can reach it in 2. And so I think she was probably the favorite out of the 3 with the remaining of us on the bench. But when she got to the par 5 and then hit an iron layup and didn't take advantage of her length, we were all like, what are you doing? This is your opportunity. She could have been knocked off just as easily as she made that putt. If she looks back on this show and says anything about it, she would probably say, yeah, I probably should have gone for it.
Yeah, I think everybody's surprised, so I'm hoping we're going to get that answer from Kim before the week is over. So, okay, let's talk about Kim finally gets immunity, and we're down to the playoff between Sam and Christina, and it's obvious, very obvious, that the bench is rooting for Sam. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that and what was going on during that whole playoff, because we missed so much of it on the TV tonight.
Yeah, the behind-the-scenes stuff is a little bit more interesting than anything else, and it's a lot of things that the viewers don't really get and understand. Is, when Christina said choke and all of that happened, the very next day, we go out and we have to make the shoot. And, the viewers are only getting 1 week at a time, and we're there, 17 consistent days. And, so the emotions and the intensity of the situation was just kind of escalating because it had just happened, the whole choke thing. And, I think it was a carryover. I think it's a carryover from that show. I think that, Sam is definitely, she's Kim's roommate. Kim's going to stick up for her. She's somebody I know, so I'm probably going to stick up with her. Sophie knows her from the European tour. So Susan and Christina are really the only 2 that are kind of on the outs. And, Susan's not in the challenge, so now who are we all rooting for? Well, the majority of the bench is probably going to root for Sam because she's closer to the remaining players. So Christina probably at one point, I think she did say that she did feel like she wasn't getting any claps, but, we weren't being disrespectful. We were clapping. We just weren't enthusiastically clapping. So, I think it was a tough position for Christina to be in, and there was no good situation for her, because if she won, nobody was going to be happy, and if she lost, she was gone, so it didn't matter. So I don't think it's a good situation for her to be in, because it was kind of a no-win situation for her, I think.
the last thing that I wanted to mention was I believe you are currently at the top of the points list in this series at this point.
You know, the interesting part about it is we all know what the prizes are. You know, so it's like a weird, you know, that we know there's prizes, but it's not something that we set out, you know, in today's show to, okay, now, if I win this challenge, I'll go to 52 points, and then I'll have a 2-shot lead or a 2-point lead on Sophie, and, you know, it's like none of that. You don't even think about it. It's like a whole weird thing going on.
Right. Well, it all comes down to the last show, which is exactly the way the TV should be. So have you got any closing remarks tonight, something I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about or share with the readers or listeners?
I think probably just to, you know, touch back on the point that, you know, I know that, you know, a lot of the things said on the discussion boards and a lot of things said in comments and in relation to the show is that the viewers are not understanding how girls, you know, girls are very emotional and get very caught up in the moment and what's going on, and you know, we hold on to things. You know, men have a way of letting things go, but you know, because we did the show, you know, one day after the next, not 1 week we did a show and the next week we did a show, that, you know, we are really caught up in the moment, and that we aren't really all trying to be catty and malicious and mean to each other. It's just that everybody got caught up in the moment from the whole choke show till now. And, you know, it's hard for, you know, once-a-week viewers to understand that, you know, we don't get up on Tuesday this week and decide, well, how are we going to be Tuesday next week? You know, this is a day after day battle that, you know, we're trying to win the big break, and we're trying to, you know, do something good for our careers. And, you know, we're not trying to be mean to each other. It's just the kind of the heat of the battle and the way a television show, you know, got laid out for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough situation when things don't go perfectly, you know, like everybody thinks they should go, you know. You know, it's a tough situation. I mean, Christina didn't mean to come off like she did, but that's how it came off. And, you know, we didn't mean to do anything mean by giving her a cold shoulder, but that's how it came off. And, you know, it's just, that's how women are in a group setting. We can get catty, and we can hold on to things, and we stay emotional. You know, that's part of just who women are. And then you throw in a competition on top of it, and you got a battle on your hands.
Mm-hmm. No, and we can't wait to see the next one, because a week from now we'll be back, and hopefully we can talk to you again, because I hear it just keeps getting better or worse, whatever way you want to look at it.
I think next week might be interesting.
Okay, well, that's great, Lori. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll chat next week, and good luck. Where are you? Are you playing in one of the Futures tours coming up, or where are you right now?
There's a bunch of us trying to qualify for the U.S. Open in Chicago this coming weekend, and then we will play in Decatur, Illinois the same week next week.
Oh, well, it's a busy one. Good luck with your game next week.
Thank you.